Hey, it's Aaron Smith from Young Invincibles. Let's talk about student debt. This is an issue that many of us know very well, very personally. I personally have quite a bit of student debt, and it's an issue that we know is an increasing problem in our society. We recently passed about $1 trillion in student debt. Across the country. That's actually more than credit card debt. It is increasingly a problem that's affecting the whole family. So you have students in their 20s in debt. You have the parents co-signing on loans in debt. You have grandparents in debt. You have young parents trying to think about how in the world are they going to afford college and not, saddle their kids with huge amounts of debt. It's an increasing problem. We all know in so many ways it's sort of unsustainable to keep piling on more and more and more debt just to get the college degree that we all agree is critically important. What are we going to do about it? I think it's a big question. I think policymakers are starting to figure out a few different options, but frankly, there's still a lot of room for young people to weigh in and explain exactly how it's impacting their lives and offer, our ideas for how we can change things. So I'll give you a few examples of some things that we can do. So first of all, just on a very practical level, there's a program called income-based repayment. When you graduate from college, if you have federal loans, you can put those loans into a program. First, you have to consolidate, but you can put them in a program called income-based repayment, or IBR, where basically it means that you pay based on your income. So if you graduate from college, you don't have a job, you're not going to pay very much on your student loans. If you graduate from college and you're making a ton of money, you're going to pay more. It really is a program designed to respond to the economic climate and to the economic condition faced by student borrowers. So really, a high percentage of borrowers should be in IBR as a way to protect themselves. So I would encourage you, if you're going to be leaving school soon, if you have student debt, to really look into the IBR program. Just Google IBR and figure out how you can sign up. Now, unfortunately, only about 2 to 3% of borrowers are actually in IBR in this country. There's about 40 million people who've borrowed and have student loans in this country. And there's some reasons. There's some administrative burdens. It's a little harder. The process is a little trickier. Many people don't even know it exists. I think schools need to do a better job of making sure students know all their options. So one of the policy proposals that we've put forth is to actually make IBR, income-based repayment, the default option. So when you graduate, rather than automatically being put on a 10-year plan or a 20-year plan, repayment plan, you're automatically put into income-based repayment. Now that means that your payments will vary based on your income, but it also means you're not likely to go into default or be sort of totally unable to pay, because your payments are going to shrink if you're out of work or you don't make very much money. So that's one area that I think has a lot of area for improvement. Another area is just information. We hear from young people and borrowers all the time who frankly didn't get enough information on the front end when they were deciding to go to college about what their student loans actually mean. Do you have federal loans or private loans? What is your monthly payment going to be when you graduate? So many students have no idea and no answers to those questions. And that's partly on them. You have to be responsible and educate yourself before you sign on that dotted line to take on all that debt. But it's also partly the system. We don't do enough in the high schools. We need more guidance counselors, and in the colleges, we need more just counseling to make sure that young people who are making these huge financial decisions have all the facts. They really know what they're getting into before they decide what school to go to, what kind of loans to take out. Make sure they're getting the most grant aid that they can get versus relying on loans. And we actually think there are some policy solutions there as well. So when you fill out your FAFSA, for example, to apply for federal aid or for Pell Grants, that's a good opportunity for you to actually get information about what different colleges are costing, how much student debt you're likely to have, what percentage of the students who go to those colleges find jobs afterwards. There's a lot of good data that students need to get when they're making those decisions, and we could integrate that into the FAFSA system. We think that'll be a much better approach to getting information out there. And the other thing is just investing in counseling. So we really want to create more counselors. In some cases, we think we could actually take recent graduates and give them jobs as school counselors and sort of college counselors in high schools as a way to give back some of the knowledge that they've gained. So that's sort of another piece of the puzzle. But I think a critical piece as well is the cost of college, and there's policymakers are weighing some different options there on how to actually control the cost of college. Well, I said before, a big part of it is states cutting back and not investing enough in colleges, and so colleges are passing those costs on to students and families. So that's a piece of it. But also encouraging innovative new approaches that can actually bring down costs. In some high schools, for example, in New York now, they're actually letting you graduate. It's an intensive program where you graduate with a community college degree. So not only are you better prepared because you have the degree, but also if you do want to go to a 4-year degree, you're saving money because you basically are saving on 2 years of education. So there's a lot of interesting, innovative sort of policies out there, but really you can address student loans, and that's critical, but the underlying problem is the rising cost of college, and that's where we really need to, as a country, get our act together and just put some real policies on the table to address that. And again, I think it's an area where students can really lead the charge. We know the problems with the cost of college and with student debt better than anybody, and so we need to have a seat at the table.